Grace woke up later than usual. The sun was already high and filling the room with its warm summer glow. As she slowly regained awareness, she couldn't quite remember how she had climbed into bed last night. The sound of her Facebook Messenger pulled her back to reality. It was a note from her daughter, Sarah. Sarah reported in a reassuring note that everything was fine and that she overreacted. Her husband had apologized and they had talked. He even encouraged Sarah to pick up her art again, especially now that their twin sons were starting school. Grace felt a wave of relief. Determined to focus on herself and her drawing, Grace returned to her unfinished artwork. As she looked at her drawing, she suddenly saw the shape of an egg, and she interpreted it as a symbol of new beginnings. Remembering the video tutorial, she decided to apply colors. Instinctively, she chose shades of green, symbolizing renewal and growth, and blended them with calming blues that evoked the feeling of water. With the video tutorial playing, Grace resumed the lesson from where she left off. Carefully, she followed the instructions, redrawing neurographic lines to round the corners and create connections. Today, her hand moved much better. She wished she had brought a set of watercolors from school to quickly finish the drawing. But the instructor's suggestion surprised her. We use pencils for coloring because moving the hand across the lines, uniting different areas on paper with the strokes, will also unite various thoughts, which these lines represent. The instructor explained. Please apply the same color to more than 2 neighboring areas. This helps integrate the drawing and makes it easy for the mind to comprehend. At first, Grace felt a spike of irritation. She was used to being the only teacher in her class, where she had the freedom to choose her methods. The concept of following rules and guidelines in art seems to curtail her potential creativity. As her hand performed rhythmical movements, shading various areas, Grace felt a growing sense of peace. It seemed that drawing wavy lines and coloring were helping her release her inner tension. The connected areas in her artwork mirrored the process, uniting different aspects of herself, leading to a greater sense of harmony. In that moment of contemplation, memories of her life with Chris flooded back. The joys and trials they experienced, their amicable separation, and occasional talks when their paths parted. She applied blue colors, and the water could wash and carry away past experiences, leaving her free from old patterns. Yet, as Grace colored the other side of her drawing with sunny yellow, she felt a shift in her emotions. There was a yearning in her heart, a desire for something more, but she couldn't quite put it into words. A soft whisper, seemingly rising from the depths of her being, urged her to let the water wash over the past and let the future shine with the rising sun. As Grace continued to work on her drawing, she couldn't shake the feeling of someone's presence behind her, which felt both comforting and making her alert. In this moment of artistic expression, she felt a profound connection to her inner self, as if the act of drawing had unlocked the door to her emotions and desires, which she had been suppressing for a long time. Feeling a surge of determination, Grace paused the video and reached for her phone. She composed a short text to Chris, proposing the idea of a gradual reconnection, a way to rediscover each other in the present, rather than trying to recreate their past. They were so different now, but perhaps they could still find common ground. The decision felt both bold and vulnerable, but she knew it was a time to take this step. Yet she paused before hitting the send button. The instructor's voice echoed in her mind as she resumed her drawing, guiding her through the concept of field lines. Field lines are visual aids that symbolize the movement of energy. They extend from one edge to the other, in the same direction. Grace contemplated the idea of expressing gratitude as a way to acknowledge and align with the universal laws, allowing positive change to flow into her life. Interestingly, Ali also compared the field lines that could express gratitude as if the desired outcome had already happened. By expressing gratitude, we acknowledge that the desired change is part of our life now. We acknowledge acceptance and trust. In this way, our efforts are aligned with the universal laws. They are the laws of giving and receiving. However, when the instructor demonstrated drawing thick lines across the entire artwork, Grace hesitated. She couldn't shake the thought that thick lines might ruin the picture. But then, the soft whisper urged her again, "Give thanks." And she let go of her resistance, allowing her hand to create the meaningful lines with a sense of trust and surrender. Grace stopped drawing and started listening. 3 or 4 field lines are enough for a small-sized drawing. Position them with feeling and emotion. Think of what you want to express and support your drawing with these field lines. We will complete the drawing by finding the figure in our drawing that becomes our new avatar for the topic, for the theme. It could be a circle, oval, egg shape. Look for the area that attracts your attention. Completing the drawing, Grace observed the area that had captured her attention, the egg shape. She knew that this was her new avatar for the theme, a symbol of growth, renewal, and the potential for new beginnings. To her surprise, she also saw the second egg, and both shapes formed a heart shape now. Now, it's time to reflect on your drawing, Ali reminded in her video tutorial. As we change the original drawing, we also change our perception visually. It is a motion cycle. We change the drawing, receive feedback based on our reactions, and make another change, which is followed by feedback. These are the signs sent by the subconscious mind. You can impress your subconscious mind using the same language, the language of emotions. Unlike our conscious mind, the subconscious does not respond to our words or reasoning. It lacks intellect and operates primarily through emotions, bodily sensations, and dreams. But we can communicate with it effectively by making use of the power of emotions and repeating the same thought multiple times. Ali explained in her video tutorial. By repeating the neural line many times, it seems possible to affect the subconscious mind, which was the driving force. Through the act of drawing and expressing her emotions on paper, she was sending powerful messages to her subconscious mind. Her completed artwork now held not just an artistic significance, but also a deeply personal one. Grace felt a surge of empowerment and excitement for the possibilities as she was holding the key to the magic door of a new and glorious life. Pausing for a moment, she looked at the heart on the drawing and felt a strong sense of conviction. Without hesitation, she hit the send button of her text, eliminating any doubts. The instructor continued. Coloring areas with the same color in Neurographica creates a sense of relatedness because when we see similar elements in a drawing, our brain naturally perceives them as connected or related, and this process triggers a feeling of comfort and ease. In our daily lives, our minds are constantly seeking patterns and familiar things to navigate through the world. Seeing familiar objects give us a sense of safety and security, while anything new or unfamiliar can trigger a cautious response. By applying the same color to multiple areas in a Neurographic drawing, we are creating visual patterns which the mind recognizes as connected and safe. By expanding our comfort zone through this creative practice, we become more open to new opportunities and feel less resistance. Grace got up and stood in front of the mirror. She looked at herself with a mix of nostalgia and curiosity. She felt settled on the average way she looked and felt, but she also felt a sudden desire for change. A more contemporary hairstyle, sophisticated glasses, new clothes, and a slimmer figure. The prospect of exploring new experiences, her thoughts drifted. She envisioned herself confidently dressed, meeting new people, joining a dance class, attending an experimental art course, indulging in books she had always wanted to read, and perhaps she could start a small home business. Retirement had gifted her the freedom to explore and experience life again, and she felt more optimistic. Lost in her daydreams, Grace once again found herself floating in the water, a sense of tranquility enveloping her. As she gently swayed in front of the mirror, she embraced the vision of her exciting journey ahead. But her reverie was abruptly interrupted when she noticed that the water was no longer a dream. It was cold and real. She opened her eyes and saw a pool of water spreading from the kitchen. As she rushed to address the unexpected leak, a long and urgent sound of the doorbell pierced the silence of the room. Grace turned abruptly and hurried to the door absent-mindedly. She swung the door open, forgetting that she was not dressed properly, only to be met with a sight that left her speechless.